Right, the kids are going to go with Miss Carmen today. You guys ready? You my mom. I don't want to listen to you. Well, how we doing today? Oh, wow. Snow really got to you guys, didn't it? How we doing today? Good morning. All right, there we go. Glad to see you guys today. Glad that you made it out in the snow today, and the roads were pretty good, so no excuses, right? Hey, if you're wow, that's a bad transition. I want to welcome everybody that's watching online because they didn't get out in the snow. I want to welcome you. My name is Blade, and just want to say thanks for watching today. We understand that most people will watch us online before they ever come visit us in person. So just want to say that we look forward to meeting you, look forward to knowing you and getting you plugged in and served here. So glad you're watching online today. As I was coming in this morning, this is just ad lib, right? I was reminded of a passage in Scripture that says this, that our sins, though they are like crimson, are washed away as white as snow, right? Every time I see snow, I'm reminded of that particular verse, and man, what a blessing, right? Whenever we look at Jesus and we look at what he's done for us, that he's died for us, that he poured his blood out for us, that he was pierced for our transgressions, right? That he hung upon that tree, right? And he was put into the grave and he rose 3 days later. And man, our sins are like white as snow. I don't know about you guys, but we built snowmen yesterday. Anybody else? Did your kids build? Your kids did? Anybody else? You guys did? All right. Man, I'll tell you what. I do not have snow gloves, so I just used regular old leather gloves, and they didn't work very well, okay? My fingertips are still trying to regain their feelings. So we're in this series today, in this month, called Unstuck. Why don't you say that with me? Unstuck. All right, this is week 2 of our sermon series, Unstuck. And we have to ask ourselves this question: why do we need to talk about this, right? First off, what are we even talking about? So this whole month, we are talking about what? Money, 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 right? We're talking about money this month, but why do we need to talk about that? Because Jesus talked about money a lot, didn't he? We talked about this last week. Like, Jesus talks about money a whole lot. Like, 1 out of every 10 verses that you read in the New Testament is going to deal directly with money or possessions. And Jesus, or the Bible actually, talks about money more than 5 times as much as faith and prayer. Isn't that incredible? That money is talked about a lot, because we know that in our lives, whenever we are going day to day, like, we have a tendency to put our trust in money. Hey, can you turn me down just a tad this morning? So Jesus talked about money a lot. Thank you. Have you ever heard this saying, God helps those who helps themselves? You ever heard that? You ever heard that? Like, I'm not alone, am I? Have you ever heard the phrase, God helps those who help themselves? Have you ever read that in the Bible? No, it's not in there, is it? It's not in there. God, I want to submit to us today this idea that God doesn't help those who help themselves. God is a God who helps those who are unable to help themselves. God helps those. God chases after those. God shows grace and mercy and forgiveness to those who, in fact, are not able to help themselves. So why do we need to talk about this money deal? Because, whenever we look at our world and we look at our finances, we look at our bank accounts, we look at how we live life, the world has taught us how to spend and use our money, hasn't it? Unfortunately, it's put a lot of us in a hole. Just by mere statistics, if you look at your neighbors this morning or you think about your friends, just by mere statistics, about 70% of people are deep, deep in debt. And that's not okay, right? So if we are Christ followers, we don't help those that help themselves, right? God helps those who are unable to help themselves. So in fact, if we want to talk about this money thing, the best place to take advice is where? Here, right? Because the world has taught us a way to do it, but the Bible and through God's Spirit, He can teach us a much better way, can't He? Okay, so why don't we start off this way? Say this with me one more time. Unstuck. Say it with me. Unstuck. That's the sermon series we're in today. And my title today is this: Act Your Wage. You ever heard that phrase, act your age? I never knew what that meant because people look at me and think that I'm like in my mid-40s, right? I went to the barber the other day and to get a haircut, and most of you guys didn't even notice, so thank you. My wife didn't even notice that I cut almost 4 inches off my beard, and she didn't even notice. Wow, isn't that incredible? I need to maybe trim it just a little bit more. I did not know it was that long. Okay, so I went to the barber the other day, and he gave me a haircut, good haircut, and we were talking. It was busy, right? And people are just talking about like how old they are and stuff like this. Anyway, they say, well, Blade, yeah, you got to be pushing in your mid-40s, right? Guys, I can't tell you. Like my spirit is like, all right, stay humble, right? Just stay calm, okay? Don't get mad about this, okay? And some of you guys don't even know. Like some of y'all be thinking that I'm in my mid-40s. Y'all need to chill, okay? Listen up. I am going to enjoy the next 2 weeks of my 20s, okay? Because I'm going to be 30 here in just a couple weeks, and I'm going to enjoy the last couple weeks of my 20s. And you guys are sitting here going, wait, I'm listening to a preacher that ain't even 30 years old. Yeah, you are. And some of y'all been coming for like 5 years now, and you didn't even notice it, okay? All right. Act your wage, okay? Act your wage. And here is the basis of this sermon series called #Unstuck, okay? Here it is, Proverbs chapter 22, verse 7. Read the underlining with me. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is what? Servant to the lender. So here's this idea that we're talking about this month, because we need to talk about our pocketbooks, because some of us are in trouble, okay? And God has some things to say to us to help us, okay? The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. We talked about this word servant last week. It means to be a slave, to be in bondage. To be a servant means that you are in bondage to something. Some of us, we're looking at our day-to-day lives, and some of y'all are in bondage to binge watching Netflix, okay? I don't know how you do it. You watch like an entire season in like a night. How? Like, I'm going to be 30 in a couple weeks, but I need my sleep, okay? I don't know how you guys do it, because I've been talking to you, some of y'all, and you'd be like, yeah, this series just came out, and I don't know how you do it, okay? But that's okay. You're in bondage, okay? And some of us are in bondage to sin. We are under its power. Some of us are in bondage to money, and we look at our lives, and we're saying, man, I wish I could do this. I wish I could serve God in this way. I wish that I could give to this mission trip. I wish that I wasn't in so much bondage to my checkbook. But we are, right? The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. We tell ourselves, man, I'm in bondage. I'd like to help a kid go on a mission trip, but I'm in bondage to money. I'd like to be able to serve my neighbor by buying them a snow shovel, but I can't because I'm in bondage to money. I can't afford it, right? Last week, we talked about this idea, right? We talked about this idea last week that we don't serve money. Who do we serve? We serve who? God. We don't serve money. We serve God. If we are Christ followers, if we call Jesus our Lord, we do not call money our Lord. We don't want to be in bondage to money. We don't serve money. Say that with me. We don't serve money. We serve who? God. Money serves us as we serve God. Money serves us as we serve God. You know, if you look back at the history of just 50 years ago or 40 years ago or something like that. The old rule, like if you look back 4 decades, you look back to like when my grandparents were like, newly married, or, they were, maybe they had adult kids or whatever. 40 years ago, the old rule was this: if you don't have the money, guess what? You can't buy it. If you don't have the money, you can't buy it. And I know that sounds crazy to some of us in here, the rule that if you don't have the money, you can't buy it, because you're like, nah, I got my credit card. Like, I go get those new shoes if I want them. And you're looking at your bank account going, man, I got like $5 in there, but I can afford it, right? I can get these. The old rule was if you don't have the money, you couldn't buy it. Here's an incredible statistic. Check this out. Before the Great Depression, 2% of homes, catch that, 2% of homes had a mortgage against them. That means 98% of the homes before the Great Depression did not have a mortgage. Fast forward 4 decades, fast forward 40 years, and now 2% of homes don't have a mortgage. So you look back before the Great Depression, 98% of the homes didn't have a mortgage. And then you fast forward 40 years, and only 2% of homes don't have a mortgage against them. That's a giant shift, isn't it? That's a giant shift. You know, but for so many people, especially like teenagers and people that are in their early 20s and stuff like this, they have this crazy idea that we deserve the same lifestyle as our parents. And it's like, no, like your parents have worked like 40, 50 years to be able to buy this or do this or go on this vacation or whatever. Like we don't deserve the same lifestyle as our parents unless we work the same way that our parents worked for that particular lifestyle, right? And here's the crazy thing. If you look at people today, and this is how the Bible, man, it just comes to life. Check out Proverbs chapter 13. This is what it says. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 7. One man what? Pretends to be rich, yet has what? Nothing. One man pretends to be rich, yet has nothing. These are the people that are so far in debt that they have credit cards that are maxed out. They got like 16 credit cards in their pocket, and they're all maxed out, pretending that they're rich. Man, they're buying new shoes, they're buying new jackets, they're buying new hats. They're doing all these kinds of things, and they're pretending to be rich, but really they have nothing. They are in bondage to money, man. They are so far in debt. You can look at this as the haves, right? The people that have money. You can look at this as the have-nots, the people that have nothing. And then you can look at this as those that are still paying for what they have, right? They bought a pair of $30 jeans on a credit card, and by the time you pay interest on it, you're paying like $70 for a pair of jeans. That is crazy, right? So here's the thing, man. We need to talk about money. You might be sitting there squirming a little bit in your seat going, nah, I'm good. Like, oh, yeah, I got a couple bucks in my bank account. I'm good. But if we really look at this, we can learn some biblical values on how we need to treat our finances. And believe me, when I'm standing up here before you, trust me, my wife and I need this just as bad as some of you guys squirming in your seats. Trust me, okay? My wife and I need to hear this as well, but here's some biblical values that we can embrace, okay? Number one is this. Say the white with me. Embrace the value of what? Self-control. We need to embrace the value of self-control. Embrace the value of self-control. Take a look at 2 Timothy chapter 1 with me. Read the underlining with me. For this reason, I remind you to fan into what? Flame the gift of God. You know, some of us are sitting here just, you know, God has gifted us with so many talents and treasures, and God has really gifted us, but it's like just a little spark, just a little bit of spark. What we need to do is be like, man, I'm going to turn that spark into like a blazing fire, right? For this reason, For this reason, I remind you to fan into flame the gift of God, which is in you through the laying on of my hands. For God gave us what? A spirit not of fear. For God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of what? Power, love, and what? Self-control. For some of us, we're sitting here this morning going, man, I am just scared to death of my debt. I look at my debt, I look at my education loans, and I look at my credit card debt, and I look at my mortgage, and I look that I owe money on all 3 of the vehicles that I have, and I just bought my teenager like an iPhone 10 whatever, and I'm still paying for that. Some of us need to embrace the value of self-control. Because God gave us a spirit not of fear, right? And he's talking about the heavenly realms here. He's talking about things like sharing your faith with people and doing stuff like that. But it also helps us in our finances. Because some of us are so scared, so fearful of money that we never take that leap to get over the hump. We never take that leap to trust God with our pocketbooks. We never take that leap to get over the fear of money, and we're stuck. Just plain and simple, we're stuck. But I believe that God has better for us. I believe that if we look at these biblical values that God has placed forth in His Word, like this isn't just coming out of thin air, this is His, right? If we embrace these values, I believe that we can do more not only for our families, we can do more for the kingdom of God. Isn't that what our heart's desire is? We can do more for the kingdom. Here's the idea, though. Good habits create more good habits. If you look at your life today and you start small and you create a good habit today and then you build upon that good habit tomorrow, and then 10 days from now you got more good habits. Good habits create more good habits. But here's the key to it all. It has to involve self-control. Self-control is the key to good habits. When you can look at your little kids now, or remember back in the day when you were a little kid, some of that was longer ago, than others. But you look at little kids and you go to the store, right? And they see like a chocolate bar. And they get their heart set on that chocolate bar, don't they? Or they see a toy and they get their heart set on that toy. Man, you got like an LOL doll or whatever. That's a big thing for my daughter right now, right? She's got like 5 of them, and people, she's not buying them, right? I think we bought like one. People keep giving them to her. But I'll tell you what, we go to Walmart and she sees an LOL doll that she doesn't have. You better believe her eyes are locked, right? They are locked and loaded. She wants that little doll, right? But you look at this and you're going, man, when I was a kid, I saw that chocolate bar. I want that chocolate bar, and I don't want it a week from now. I want it when? Now. I want that chocolate bar now. I want that toy now. I want that new jacket or that new hat or that new car or whatever, and I want it now, right? So I'm going to call just some people out here, not like by name, but just chill, okay? Y'all be, whoa, there's the door. Okay, I'm not going to like calling you out by name. But this is just a generalization, okay? So don't be getting mad at me here. All right, please don't get mad at me, but if you do, it's whatever, because it's true. So if you look traditionally, okay, if you look at generalizations, you look at a woman, she will nickel and dime you to death, right? She's got to get her hair done. She's got this jean with this shirt, but there's got to be something in the middle, so she's got to get the matching belt. Right? But those shoes don't go with that outfit, so then she got to get you new shoes. She's going to be nickel and diming you. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, now my nails don't match my outfit, right? So I got to get my nails done. But guess what? My goodness, we're going to be going to a nice party. Now I got to get earrings to match my outfit that matches my new belt and my new shoes and my new nails, right? They will nickel and dime you to death. My wife and I have conversations about this all the time. We're sitting on the couch, and I'm watching like a Kansas City Chiefs game or something. Not that I like them, but they won last night, and the Cowboys didn't. Oh, turn it. Okay. And I'm like watching a game or something. I'm like, babe, what are you doing? Shopping. We don't need anything. Yeah, we do. Well, what do you need? Well, I got to get this to match this. Or Lawton needs this to match this. And it's like, dude, guys don't, like, he doesn't care, right? But here, let me flip this over real quick. I'm not just going to pick on the women today. Here's the idea with men. Men will kill you at once. Okay? They come home, and I'm not saying this is me, but you look back at me like 5, 6 years ago, whenever we first got married, you better believe this was me, right? Men will kill you all at once. They'll come home and say, babe, I bought a new truck. What? It was a great deal. 4% interest, right? And my old truck had like 40,000 miles. This one only has like 10,000. Well, I bought a new truck. Or they'll come home and say, babe, it's January. I bought some jet skis. They were on sale, right? If you buy them in the wintertime, you get a better deal than you do in the summertime. Isn't that incredible, babe? No. You know, like, it's not, right? Like, men will kill you at once. You know, men are the ones that are tempted whenever you have to sit through those things with timeshares. The men are like, yeah, that sounds pretty good, right? Yeah, I could go somewhere to Florida or something, right? But here's the idea. We need to embrace the value of self-control. If the kid wants the chocolate, say no. Doesn't need it. If a kid wants a toy and you don't have the money and you're in debt, guess what? They don't need it. You got to embrace the value of self-control, and you got to ask yourself, man, we got to look internally. And I'm talking to those of us that are in debt today. You're looking at yourself and you're in debt. Do you really need to get your nails done twice a week? Oh, okay, stab into the gut again. You know, and here's the idea. You might be saying, man, my husband loves when I get my nails done. Like, he loves it whenever I get my nails done. Women, let me just say this real quick. I have never once heard a guy say, whoo, did you check out her nails? Man, they are looking good. I ain't never heard that from a dude, okay? Never. Men, do we really need to play golf like twice a week if we're in debt? No, we do not. Do we really need that $6 cup of coffee that tastes just a tad bit better than the gas station if we're in debt? No, we don't. And believe me, I love coffee, but if we're in debt, we don't need it, okay? Does your 12-year-old, catch this, parents, does your 12-year-old really need a phone that's nicer than yours? No, they do not. And they'll convince you, right? Well, I'm going to be on the bus, or I'm going to be in my car. What if I break down? What if I break down? What if I get a flat tire? Don't you want me to call you? And you're like, man, you're pulling at the heartstrings. Yeah, I do want you to call me, right? So you buy them like a $1,500 phone. Guess what? Back in the 90s, I had this one little phone that couldn't do nothing, and it still made phone calls, right? We need to embrace the value of self-control. Do we really need that car, that brand new car, that it's going to depreciate by 20% as soon as we pull off the parking lot? No, we don't. But here's the idea. If you're out of debt and you don't have credit card debt, you don't have mortgage debt, you don't have loan debt, you don't have all these kinds of things, you can do whatever you want. You want to buy that new car? Buy that new car. You want to buy that $6 cup of coffee? Buy that $6 cup of coffee. You want to get your nails done 7 times a week? Get your nails done 7 times a week if you're out of debt. I don't care. But as Christ followers, that's not the way we need to treat this, okay? We need to learn how to say no now so that we can say yes later. We need to live like no one else is living now so that 10 years from now we can live like no one else is living, right? So we need to embrace the value of self-control. Number 2 is this. We need to embrace the value of what? Sacrifice. We need to embrace the value of sacrifice. Whenever I say sacrifice, like biblically speaking, who's the first person that comes to your mind? Jesus, right? Like that was a big part of his life, right? He sacrificed like a lot, right? We need to embrace the value of sacrifice. And Hebrews chapter 12 says this. Hebrews chapter 12 says this. Read the underlining with me. Let us fix our eyes on who? Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith. Why? Who for the joy set before him, what did he do? He endured the cross. Let us fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and the perfecter of our faith. Like he didn't just start our faith, he's going to see us through till the end, right? The author and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before him, what did he do? He endured the cross. What does that have to do with money, right? Jesus models for us the lifestyle of sacrifice. You can think back to his ministry, and he told people, man, the birds of the sky have nests and all this kind of stuff, but the Son of Man has nowhere to what? Lay his head. Here's the idea of sacrifice, embracing the value of sacrifice, giving up something we love for something we love even more. Giving up something we love for something that we love even more. Do you think Jesus enjoyed his life? I'm sure he did. Like the God of the universe who takes on flesh and walks amongst us, do you think he enjoyed seeing Peter's eyes whenever he's walking on water? I bet you he did. Do you think Jesus enjoyed the moments whenever he healed the lepers and he saw their eyes light up? I bet you he did. Do you think Jesus enjoyed seeing little kids' eyes light up whenever he feeds the thousands? I bet you he did. But that's not the end-all, be-all. What did he come for? He came to give his life as a ransom. For those of us that are dead in our sins, he is the one that atones for our sacrifice. He is the one that atones for our sins by his sacrifice. He gave up his very life so that he could have something that he loved even more. So that one day we will be able to walk with him and look at him face to face and live all of eternity with him. We need to embrace the value of sacrifice. What does that look like? It looks like giving up cable television so that you can have a debt-free Christmas. Some of y'all are going to be paying interest on Christmas until like June, right? It's not the way that it was meant to be. It's like giving up cable television for a debt-free Christmas. It's like moving out of your big house and moving into a smaller house so that one of you can stay home with the kids. It's like giving up eating the $6 enchilada every day for lunch and taking your lunch with you so that over the course of a working life, you can save $112,000. You know, for some of us, we're looking at these things that we really, really want. And we look at it and you say, man, I really want that new car. How much do I need to put down? Or you're looking at that new car and you're saying, man, how much a month is it going to cost me? Or you're looking at this house saying, man, I love this giant house and I just love it. How much a month is it going to cost me? What we really need to be asking ourselves is, how much is the real cost? Like, how much is it going to cost us in a kingdom perspective? But for some of us, we're looking at our credit card balances and you see that you have $14,000 in debt or something like that. I'm just using this number, $14,517. And you're looking at this going, man, but that $14,000 was well worth it because I went on a trip to Disney World. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed your trip, but you're going to be paying a lot of money for that. Or you're looking at this going, man, I know I'm $14,517 in debt, but I really, 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 really wanted that home theater in my one-bedroom apartment, right? Here's the idea. I'm just using this number, $14,517. You guys ready to have your minds blown? If you pay $217.93 per month on a $14,517 debt at 18%, guess how many years it'll take you to pay it off? Anybody else? Well, you guys were off. 40 years. If you have $14,000 in debt and you pay the minimum payment of $217 a month, it'll take you 40 years to pay off $14,000. And by the time you pay it off, guess how much you actually paid for it? For this $14,000 in debt, this trip to Disney World, or this home theater, or this truck that you just had to have, or whatever it is, by the time 40 years is paid off, you will have paid $104,606.40. Now, if you're looking at that going, man, I really wanted that $14,000 trip to whatever, wouldn't you much prefer having that like $85,000 whatever over the course of your lifetime? Yeah. Now, are you guys want to have your mind blown just a little bit more with numbers? Say it. Blow my mind, Blade. All right, here it is. You ready? If you take that $14,517, and say you're getting your tax returns here in the next month or two or whatever, and you take that $14,517 and you invest it instead of spend it. Say that with me. Invest instead of spend. If you invest that money instead of enjoying yourself for 3 days, but over the course of 40 years at traditional interest rates, you will have saved, you ready for this? $1,350,820 over the course of 40 years. Can you say, wow? If you invest, take this, if you invest $14,517, you guys are fixing to get your tax returns, and you're going to be thinking twice about buying those new jeans, right? If you invest the $14,517, and if you were paying on it, right, if you were paying it off, your number was $217 a month to pay it off over the course of 40 years. But if you take that $14,517 and pretend in your mind like it's a debt, and you add to it $217 a month, over the course of 40 years at 12% interest, you will have saved $3,597,615. Could you guys do anything with that money? No. I'd rather have a 4-day trip to Belize, right? Come on now. Here's the idea of embracing the value of sacrifice. We give something up we love in order to gain something that we love even more. What kind of difference could that make in the kingdom of God? What kind of difference could that make in the kingdom of God? If we were no longer stuck, if we got ourselves unstuck for the glory of God, this is not a selfish thing. We got ourselves unstuck for the glory of God so that whenever somebody says, man, our church really needs this, you can step up to the plate. Or a kid says, I want to go on a mission trip, you can step up to the plate. Or you see that the Bible has been translated into so many languages, but there's still 1,000 more to go. And you could just say, boy, I'm going to help translate the Bible by giving my money for people around the world to be able to hear the gospel of Jesus. We need to embrace the value of sacrifice. Number 3 is this. We need to embrace the value of what? Strategy. You see how all 3 of those are S's? Took a long time. My wife helped me with that. Embrace the value of strategy. Strategy. Look at this. Look at these 2 verses. Go ahead and pull it up. Suppose, Jesus says this in Luke chapter 14. Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Right? You want to build a tower that reaches the stars. Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see what? If you have enough money to complete it. Embrace the value of strategy. Once you see you want to build this giant building, won't you first see if you have enough money to you don't want to get the foundation laid and then all of a sudden oh, bummer, can't put a roof on it. Or, oh, bummer, now I can't afford to put heat and air in it. No, you're going to sit down and see if you have enough money to complete it. Proverbs chapter 21, verse 5 says this. The plans of the diligent lead to what? Profit. As surely as haste leads to poverty. The plans of the diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to poverty. Now, we're talking about money here, and we're talking about getting out of debt. We're talking about getting unstuck, right? But we have to understand why. Why are we getting ourselves out of debt? Why are we getting ourselves unstuck? It's because Jesus, it means so much to us that we want to be able to pour more resources into his mission, right? We're not just getting ourselves unstuck so that we can buy a mansion. We're not getting ourselves unstuck so that we can buy that island that nobody else can afford, right? We're not getting ourselves unstuck just so that we can, let me rephrase this. Some of us want to get unstuck just so that maybe we can change our oil on time, right? The plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. And here's this idea. You ready for this? You can wander into debt. You can wander into debt, but you can never wander out of it. Only diligence and strategy will bring you out of debt. Anybody can get into debt, Look at the world. Everybody's in debt. Look at Americans. Everybody's in debt. Anybody can wander into it by buying new trucks, buying new houses, putting coffee on their credit card and paying interest on it, buying your kid DVDs on your credit card and paying like 14% interest on it. Anybody can wander into debt. It's really not that hard. But only the diligent can get out of it. Now, if you're sitting here this morning saying, man, I want to get out of debt, I really hope you're paying attention. I really hope God is speaking to your heart right now because he has a lot to say about it. If we embrace the value of self-control, you don't need that $7 cup of coffee if you're in debt. You don't need those new pair of jeans that are fashionable if you're in debt. We need to embrace the value of self-control. We need to embrace the value of sacrifice. Maybe you don't need to eat steaks 4 times a week. Maybe you should be eating rice and beans so that you can pay your credit cards off, right? We need to embrace the value of strategy. Strategy. You can wander into debt, but you can never wander out of it. Only the plans of the diligent will get out of debt. What does this look like, though? So I'm going to take just a couple minutes here. I know we're getting lost here, but I want to share 2 things with you. Number one is this. The first thing that we need to do is save $1,000 for emergencies. Somehow, some way, some weird, I don't know, ask God about it, right? Maybe you need to sell that saw in your garage. Maybe you need to, sell that TV that you watch 80 hours a week. Maybe you need to do whatever. We need to save $1,000 for emergency. Why? Things are going to break. A kid's going to throw a ball through your window. Your refrigerator's going to go out. Your kids are, going to eat 75-cent candy, 30 times a week, whatever, right? You need to sell some stuff. Maybe you need to get a second job. Maybe you need to do something like this. Maybe you need to quit eating steaks and start eating ramen noodles for a little bit, right? We need to save $1,000. Maybe you need to start, clipping coupons or something like that. Now, hear what I said. Coupons, not Groupons, okay? Like, I don't want you guys coming to me saying, man, I got like a Brazilian wax or something. It's like, well, did you really need it? No, but it was a great deal, right? Like, if you don't need it and you pay for it, you're not saving money, you're spending money, okay? So we need to save $1,000 for emergencies. Whatever that looks like for you. Work a part-time job for a couple weeks, save $1,000. You're gonna need it, right? Number 2 is this. If you guys are in debt and you want to talk about this later, please, please, please come to me, right? Come talk to me about this. So Dave Ramsey, this is nothing like new, I did not come up with this, is what I'm trying to say. Dave Ramsey does what he calls the debt snowball. You guys ever heard of that? The debt snowball. Here's what it looks like. So you need to save $200, right? And with that $200, you lay out all your credit card debt and all this kind of stuff. Save $200 somehow, some way. Do whatever you got to do. Stay at home instead of going to Joplin on a date night. Do whatever you got to do. Save $200. And here's what the debt snowball looks like. You lay all your debt out, and you're looking at one of them saying, man, I owe $400, and my minimum payment is $50 a month, right? Take that $200, add it to your minimum payment of $50 a month, and all of a sudden you're going to pay that debt off in like a month and a half, right? You're going to pay it off in a month and a half. And whenever that's paid off, you take that $250, you're saying, man, where did I get $250? You already had $200. Now you don't have that payment of $50, so you're going to take $250 and pay off your next credit card. And if you have $1,000 debt on there, guess what? You're going to pay it off in like 4 months, and your minimum payment was $50 a month. So you're going to take that $50 and add it to the $250. Now you have $300. Do you see where this is going? It builds like a snowball. We did that yesterday. So now you're going to take that $300, right? And you're going to pay off your next debt. Where did I get $300? You already had $200. You paid off one $50 a month, add it to it. You pay off another one in 4 months. You add that to it. Now you got $300, and you're going to pay off your mortgage or whatever it looks like, right? You're going to pay off all your minimum payments, whereas it would have taken 100 months or something like that to pay off if you're just paying the minimum payments on it. over the course of time, you're going to pay off your debt by doing the debt snowball. We could break that down later if you want to. Here's what Proverbs chapter 6, verse 5 says. It's not on the screen. It says this. It says, free yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter. Free yourself. How many of you guys want to be free? Right? The truth will set you free. The truth will set you free. Jesus is going to set us free, and he's going to give us biblical values that can get us out of debt so that we don't have to be in bondage to money. Because why? We can't serve two masters. You can't serve money and God. Jesus said that, right? We're going to get ourselves out of bondage. We're going to free our minds. We're going to free ourselves from the bondage of money so that we can look at God and say, man, God, whatever you have for me, I'm going to do it. You want me to give all my money away to missions? I'm going to do it. You want me to do this? I'm going to do it, right? We're going to free ourselves like the gazelle from the hunter. Now, here's the thing, though. People are going to think you're crazy. Believe that. This goes countercultural to the world. People are going to think you are a lunatic. Who cares? You got a goal, right? You got a vision. You're going to pay off your debt. You got a goal. You got a vision. Stick to it. Proverbs says this, a godly man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. A godly man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. Here's what we need to do. We need to get gazelle intensity. We're going to free ourselves from the bondage of money. We don't serve money, we serve God. Say it with me. We don't serve money, we serve God. Money serves us as we serve God. Say it with me. Money serves us as we serve God. We're going to get out of debt. We're going to free ourselves. Amen? You might be sitting here this morning going, Blade, you have no idea. I got debt that's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. If I know one thing, it's that God can accomplish the impossible, right? God can accomplish the impossible. All it takes for us is to take the first baby step. See where you want to go. Embrace the values that God has given us of self-control, sacrifice, and strategy, and free yourself. Free yourself. Okay. So this is the time of our offering. And Scripture tells us that we should give with a joyful heart. Man, you might be sitting here going, man, I want to give with a joyful heart, but I am stuck, right? I got so much debt, Blade, you ain't got no idea how stuck I am. Here's what the Bible says. Give with a cheerful heart. You may not be there right now, but you know you want to get there, don't you? We want to get there. And the way that we do it is by taking a baby step. We honor God first. We honor God first with our first fruits and go from there. So we can give in the offering outside these doors or give online at cclcfamily.org. We're going to say one last thing before we go today. Don't forget about the Sandman. Say that with me. Sandman. What's it stand for? See a need, meet a need. Here's how it works. If you see a need out in the community, you're going to meet that need. You're going to carry somebody's trash to the curb that forgot to, right? You're going to buy somebody a lunch that doesn't have any money because we've freed ourselves. You're going to meet a need somehow, some way. You're going to pull over and you're going to help somebody change a tire. You're going to help somebody fix their furnace. You're going to do something because Jesus came to meet needs, right? Not only the need of our salvation, which is awesome, but he met the needs of people. He healed lepers. He helped the blind people see, deaf people hear. He fed thousands. Jesus met needs. So here's how it works. Over the course of this year, we're going to meet needs. And we set this goal last week that our church is going to meet 1,500 needs this year. And we're going to accomplish it. We're going to set a goal. We're going to embrace it with self-control and strategy. And we're going to meet needs. So if you meet a need, jot it down. You don't have to put your name on it or anything like that. But we have this thing that we can tell the spiritual health of our church by how we serve. Jesus came not to be served, but what? To serve. Jesus came to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. So whenever you meet a need, write it down, whatever the need was, and drop a marble or whatever those things are in that glass jar. And by June, you guys are going to be looking over there going, man, it's starting to fill up. You know why? Because our church doesn't just come to church on Sundays. We are the church, right? We're the church on Monday. We're the church on Thursday. We meet needs of people. We are not Pharisees that spend an hour at church on Sundays. No, we are the church all the time, right? So we're going to meet the needs of people. Cool? All right. Whoever finds Christ. God bless you guys. Have a great week.